Hi everyone. Well, the Equinox Aurora event is upon us, and this is my run on the first of the 3 Lufenia stages. And the strategy that I'm using is focusing on a no boss turn run using Vivi to actually drain the party's HP. Because one of the tricky parts about this fight is the boss will inflict HP poison on your entire party in certain intervals in the fight. And you actually need to actually cleanse the debuffs. But if you actually use Vivi instead of a cleanser, another option is to just drain your entire party of HP so that there's actually no HP to be lost to the HP poison effect. As always, I will also be including a timestamp in the video description so you can use that to jump ahead to the section that you are interested in. So first off, a little bit about the party setup. I remove everyone's HP passives so that I have as low as possible the maximum HP, and this makes it very easy to drain off everyone's HP. Alright, so coming into the fight, at the start it's very simple. The boss starts off without the minions, and after 5 actions the boss will land. So all you need to do at the start is to time 5 actions before the boss gets a turn, after which the boss will land and summon the minions. The minions always come with a Lufenia orb count of 10. And there's actually no way to increase the orb count on the minions, which means that as far as the minions is concerned, it's a DPS race. However, for the first wave of minions, it's very straightforward. I just entered BT mode with Bartz, and you can see just his BT mode alone will deplete most of the minions' HP and leave them in the red. After which, Vivi can just come in and mop up the remaining health on the minions. They don't actually have a lot of HP and they drop pretty quickly as well. Coming to Vivi's role here, he has 2 functions. Firstly, to minimize everyone's HP as quickly as possible, and secondly, to help mop up the minions. So because of that, at the start, I actually spam Vivi's LD because his LD carries the biggest HP drain effect for the party. There's really no need to save his LD because I will be swapping Vivi out later anyway for the friend Tifa. And the more HP you can sacrifice to Vivi's HP drain, the better it is because it leaves you more room for the HP poison effect. So when the boss hits 79%, the Lufenia orb will appear, and that is the reason why I have Immediate Call set on Tifa, not only for the turn deletion effect, but also because Immediate Call inflicts a number of frame debuffs, and that will actually help to manage the Lufenia orb while the debuffs are up. The good thing about Immediate Call is that both versions of his call inflicts debuffs, so after the boss cleanses itself, you can then use the regular call to re-inflict most of his debuffs and manage the Lufenia orb that way. So at this point, the minions are dead and the party's HP is in the red, which means that Vivi has served his function. The boss will resummon minions later in the fight, but that actually comes much later on, so for that reason I decided to swap Vivi out for Tifa here. The goal with 2 Tifas with a Bartz BT aura is to really zerk down the boss HP as quickly as possible. When the boss reaches below 50% HP, he will actually lose the Lufenia orb as well. Okay, so here when the boss lands, it dispels everyone's buffs and re-inflict his 3 framed debuffs. Don't do what I did here. I actually used a Immediate Silver Call here, but on hindsight it's actually not needed because the Lufenia orb on the boss isn't there, and the orb will actually reappear when the boss is below 30%. So if you are following the same strategy, it's actually better to save Immediate Silver Call for when the Lufenia orb reappears again near the end of the fight. Otherwise, for now, you can actually just forget about the minions. Although they have a Lufenia orb taking down, later on I will be bringing Vivi back, and Vivi will make very short work of the minions anyway. You can use Bartz to try to do as much splash damage on the minions to soften them up before Vivi comes back. But otherwise, there should be enough room to kill them off with Vivi the moment the support Tifa finishes. And if you look at the timing, it fits quite nicely because my support Tifa 5 turns is about to end, and it will likely end somewhere inside summon, so Vivi will come back and kill off the minions really quickly. Right, so here the Lufenia orb has reappeared, and ideally this is where you want to use Amethitlion Silver Call so that you can continue to maintain the orb. Because I've actually used it, in effect, I am now in a DPS race to actually kill off the boss before the orb expires. But with Tifa in the field, it is actually quite possible as well. Okay, so Vivi is back, and here I quickly use Sephiroth's LD call to deal some nice damage to the boss and the minions, and I use his last LD to really zerk down the minions as quickly as possible. So now I'm just left with the boss, and it is a DPS race. I really wish I saved Amethithlion's call so that I have actually more room here. But as you can see, with Tifa, really it is quite possible to just zerk down the boss before the Lufenia orb expires. Alright, that's it for this run. As always, if it's been helpful, do leave a like, comment or subscribe. It really helps a lot. Till then, I'll see you guys in the next Lufenia fight. Bye bye.